Survivors, these are the top 5 creature submissions so far in the latest ARK community creature vote. Let's take a look at these because at least one of these could very well be joining the ARK as the next official creature. But don't forget there are plenty of other great submissions that you should really take a look at over on the ARK forums. So make sure to drop a comment on this video if you like any of these 5 or if you prefer a different one to be in the top 5 or 10. So far, standing out in first place with more than 1,000 votes is the Gorgonopsid, voted by Scanova. Although I believe Gorgonopsid is the family name, Scanova has identified this species as the Inostrandchevia. This creature was the largest of the Gorgonopsid family and lived during the Permian period, approximately 290 million years ago, before the dinosaurs roamed the earth. This creature submission describes it as being a mid-tier tame, and considering it was believed to be the biggest of the Gorgonopsids, this rideable mount would be on a similar scale to the Thylacoleo. This tame would have a significant focus on its powerful sense of smell, using its senses to be able to track individual creatures, whether it be your own tames where it would be acting as an organic form of transponder, or an enemy tame where it can track a single scent anywhere on the map. Similar to the glow pets, this creature would be able to identify high level wild dinos and be able to pinpoint more accurately their direction within a certain radius. And using its saber-like teeth, it would have a wounding bite that would cause the opponent creature to release a much stronger scent for the Inostrandchevia to track from afar, in addition to being able to see the stats of the wounded creature, akin to an organic form of HLNA. Next up is the Bastion Beetle, submitted by Torchu Jack 117, originally submitted by Survivor Santiago 99 during the Fjordor vote. This beetle was from the Miocene period, roughly 20 million years ago, and found in Antarctica. This submission describes the creature as only being tameable when it's a baby in the form of larvae that will secrete a substance that attracts nearby ants that will come to protect it. When tamed as a growing larvae, it will become a shoulder mount that will be able to act as a bug repellent, in addition to giving off a strong smell that can keep the survivor from passing out when their torpor is rising. Once fully grown, it will become a large beetle that can knock back other creatures around it with its fast wing flaps similar to a wyvern. It will be able to grab medium-sized creatures and be able to climb and cling onto any type of surface. In addition to this, it will have weight reduction and radiation resistances, whilst having weaknesses to fire damage and nets, with further abilities also depending on whether it is a male or a female beetle. Next up we have the giant bison, submitted by LiQWYD, a species that lived in North America during the Pleistocene epoch, approximately 200,000 years ago. Described as territorial creatures travelling in large herds, charging with their massive horns, capable of goring any predator it sees as a threat, including wolves and bears. Similar to the Andrewsarchus and the Equus, the giant bison can be tamed by riding it rodeo style, but be aware of its strong hind legs if you get knocked off. Once tamed, the female bisons produce milk, which can provide any baby creature with a nice little boost. And if warmed up, the milk can give you a special buff against the harsh cold weather. And with the milk, you can also craft some delicious bison milk cheese. With their hulking bodies, the bison can provide additional warmth and can carry a significant amount of weight. And it's not just their milk that can come in handy, their feces are much more potent and can be used to give crops a boost in harvest. In combat, the bison has a charge mechanic similar to the trike, whereby the bison can impale a victim in its horns and gore them to bleed out. When in groups, the bison has a herd buff providing a boost in strength. This creature also comes with different saddles, allowing for a cart or wagon saddle, allowing greater weight and mobility. Up next we have the Myotragus, the giant mountain goat, submitted by Neddy the Noodle. These goats, growing to the size of a large adult survivor, can be found roaming the steep mountainous regions, where survivors often find themselves visiting to harvest the rich resources. The Myotragus comes with sharpened horns, allowing them to pierce the flesh of its victims, causing them to bleed. Once domesticated, these goats provide the ability to track certain resources. Presenting a resource to your mountain goat, it will then proceed to point you in the direction of where you can find that resource for harvesting. In addition to resources, it can also assist a survivor in tracking down specific creatures that you may want to tame or harvest from up to halfway across the map, providing you a general direction of where it can be found, along with the ability to track down explorer notes. In a similar fashion to the gacha, the Myotragus can be tamed by bringing it a wide variety of resources, such resources that it will be a proven scout for. The Myotragus would also be a secondary source of mutton similar to the Ovis, but at a much lower harvest rate to ensure that the Ovis still keeps its unique usefulness. And lastly, currently in 5th place we have the Hatzegopteryx, submitted by Kintage. This massive pterosaur lived during the late Cretaceous period 66 million years ago. This submission describes this creature as a prideful pterosaur that greatly values its personal space, and survivors should be cautious of invading its space as it will not hesitate to pursue you with extreme animosity. Described as slightly larger than a Quetzal, they have far better movement once grounded, with the ability to sprint and turn in place on the ground. Described as another rideable wild creature for taming purposes similar to the Andrewsarchus and Equus, any daring survivor must jump high in the sky onto its back to be taken on a wild ride around the Ark. The Hatzegopteryx is described as fearsome in close range mid-air combat, dealing significantly more damage trading blows with other flying creatures around it. Fitted with a diving slam attack, this creature can stun other flyers for a short time. And with a unique bomber saddle, the Hatzegopteryx can drop a bombardment of grenades from up high. Definitely an apex flyer. And there we have it, survivors. Those are currently the top 5 creature submissions so far. There are plenty of other amazing creatures being suggested, so do make sure to check them out over on the forums. You can find the link in the description. Let me know if you like any of these 5 top voted submissions, or if there are others on the forum that you prefer to be in the top 5 or the top 10. The community creature submissions is due to end on the 23rd of January, at which point the final voting will then be commenced shortly after. So make sure to get your votes in before the 23rd of January. Survivors, make sure to subscribe to keep up with the latest ARK news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.